You keep wondering when it will all come together, when life will finally reward you for your effort, when peace will replace pressure, when purpose will finally feel close. But what if I told you this? You're not falling behind, you're learning to walk right, slow, steady, powerful. Because no road is too long for the one who walks without rush. Welcome to Unlocking Wisdom, where timeless truths and inner transformation collide. This channel isn't just motivation, it's the ignition of your real potential. Success is not found in speed, it's born in rhythm. You've been told to move fast. Hurry up, catch up, get ahead. From the moment you open your eyes to the world, someone was already pointing at the clock. Don't waste time. Move faster. Everyone else is already winning. And so you began to sprint. Not because you were ready, not because you knew the way, but because fear whispered that you'd be left behind if you didn't. But I'll tell you this, many have sprinted their way right off their own path. You see, we live in a world addicted to urgency. We mistake movement for meaning, speed for success, and constant motion for progress. But what if the greatest strength is not in running, but in knowing when not to? What if the power isn't in how fast you move, but in how aligned you are when you do? There is something sacred in the steady. There is wisdom in the slow. There is clarity in the calm. You're not falling behind, you're becoming conscious. You're not stuck, you're grounding. Because the truth is, when you slow down, you begin to see clearly. You begin to feel again. You begin to reconnect to what actually matters, not just what's loudest. So many people confuse momentum with direction. They think just because they're busy, they're moving forward. But what's the point of fast movement if it's taking you further from yourself? What's the point of progress if you're speeding down someone else's road? Let me tell you, every great leader, every soul who built something that lasted, walked slowly at first. Not aimlessly, but with intention. They studied the ground. They listened to their spirit. They checked their alignment. Because when you walk with awareness, you don't just arrive, you become. And becoming is far more powerful than arriving. Quickly, you don't need to rush to become great. You need to be rooted. Rooted in truth. Rooted in clarity. Rooted in your why. Because a tree that grows too fast without strong roots may rise high, but it will snap in the first storm. You are building something deeper than a moment. You are building a life that endures. And that kind of life can only be built slowly. Your journey is not a race, it's a revelation. Every step reveals a piece of who you are. Every moment of stillness whispers a truth you would have missed in the noise. The world may not reward slowness, but your soul will. And your soul is the only compass that never fails you. You must break up with urgency. You must break the addiction to speed. Because speed without awareness is how people lose themselves. It's how they wake up successful but empty, rich but unfulfilled, surrounded but misunderstood. Do not envy those who seem ahead, for many of them are running from themselves. But you are walking home, back to yourself, back to truth, back to purpose. And I'll tell you, this purpose is patient. It doesn't need to be rushed. It doesn't compete. It waits. It matures. It ripens. And when you walk in harmony with it, you will find a peace that not even the fastest runner can outrun. The world will pressure you to compare, to measure your progress against others. But comparison is a thief. It will rob you of your pace, your power, your presence. And without presence, you have no real progress. So slow down, not because you're weak, but because you're wise. The tortoise did not beat the hare by out-sprinting him. He won by refusing to panic, by honoring his rhythm, by never stopping, even when he seemed behind. That's what walking slowly means. Not laziness, not delay, but non-negotiable steadiness. You get up, you move forward, and you do it again, not to impress, but to transform. Let every step be a declaration. I trust the process. I am not behind. I am becoming. Every moment of slowness is a moment of precision. Every pause is an act of mastery. And mastery isn't in how quickly you can do something, but in how fully present you are. When you do it, You must redefine progress for yourself. Because progress is not measured in miles per hour, it's measured in depth per moment. Did you listen to your intuition today? Did you act from alignment? Did you show up in integrity even when no one was watching? Then you're further than. You think so when you see others sprinting ahead. Let them run. Bless their journey. But do not follow their pace, because what is meant for you will never require you to betray your timing. And the road you're walking, though it may seem long, is shaping you into someone who can hold what's coming. Slow growth is stable growth, and stable growth becomes lasting transformation. And isn't that what you truly want? Not just a moment of achievement, but a lifetime of meaning. Your destiny does not need you to be fast. It needs you to be faithful. And faithfulness looks like one foot in front of the other, especially when it feels like nothing is moving, especially when it would be easier to quit, especially when no one claps for you, especially when you're walking alone. Because one day, yes, one day when the fog clears and you look back, you'll see that every slow, painful, uncertain step was building something unshakable in you. Something that speed could never have given you. Strength, stamina, sovereignty. So keep walking. Walk like your pace is sacred. Walk like every step matters. Because it does. No road is too long for the one who walks slowly without hurry. And your pace, though humble, is unstoppable. The earth never hurries, yet everything is accomplished in time. There is a rhythm to everything that lasts, a pulse behind every great act, a cadence within every movement of significance. The trees do not race to grow. The rivers do not rush to reach the sea, and yet they arrive fully, beautifully, powerfully. So why do you believe your life must be lived in a sprint of meaning? Why do you feel that if you're not rushing, you're not succeeding? Let me tell you what I've learned. There is a rhythm inside you more powerful than any clock outside you. But to feel it, to follow it, to trust it, you must unlearn the race and return to the rhythm. You were not designed to panic your way into purpose. You were not born to run yourself empty chasing things that do not fill you. The world may try to convince you that faster is better, but your soul knows otherwise. Your soul longs for depth, not speed, for alignment, not applause, for presence, not pressure. And it is only when you slow down enough to listen that you will begin to walk in harmony with the life you were meant to live. You don't need to force your future. You need to feel your present, because all the power you're looking for is here now, not in the next win, not in the next achievement, but in this moment, in this breath, in this step. But you cannot access it if you're sprinting. You must tune in. Like a musician who pauses before the first note, you must find your internal tempo, not the tempo of the market, not the beat of your peers, not the rhythm of the crowd, your rhythm. And let me be clear, this rhythm is not lazy, it is not passive, it is precise, it is powerful, it is anchored in purpose, guided by intuition, fueled by inner clarity. And once you lock into it, you begin to move in ways that feel effortless, not because there's no work, but because there's no resistance. You are not fighting the current, you're flowing with it. When you move in rhythm, timing becomes your ally. You stop chasing opportunities and begin attracting them. You stop shouting to be heard and begin resonating. Because presence is magnetic, clarity is compelling, and peace is undeniable. People feel it, doors open. And even your smallest steps carry the weight of greatness because they come from truth. But you must protect this rhythm. The world will always try to speed you up. The world profits from your panic. It thrives on your distraction. It applauds your exhaustion and sells you solutions for the burnout it created. But you are not here to be consumed. You are here to create. And creation does not come from chaos, it comes from quiet. It comes from stillness. It comes from the deep internal rhythm of a soul in tune with its purpose. If you want to build something that lasts, something rooted, something rich, something real, you must move in rhythm, not in reaction. You must learn to pause before you push, Reflect before you respond. Breathe before you burst. You must become a master of your own tempo, unbothered by the noise, unfazed by the rush, unwavering in your movement. Because when you move in rhythm, even your rest is sacred. Even your pauses are productive. You no longer fear stillness because you know it's part of the process. You are not falling behind when you're silent, you are refueling. You are not lazy when you reflect, you are listening. And when the moment to act arrives, you move with precision, not panic. You strike like thunder because you waited like stone. There is a difference between urgency and importance. Urgency is reactive. Importance is intentional. Anyone can panic. Anyone can hustle. But very few have the discipline to wait well. Very few have the faith to walk slow. Very few have the strength to stand still and know that life is still moving. Even when you are not, you must learn to trust divine timing. To believe that what is for you cannot pass you, and what passes you was never truly yours. You must learn to measure progress by alignment, not acceleration. Because many arrive fast and fall faster. But those who move with rhythm, they endure. When you see someone calm in the storm, steady in the noise, focused in the chaos, it's not luck, it's mastery. They've walked with themselves long enough to know that no breakthrough is worth their peace. They've failed and realized that failure doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means you're learning. They've slowed down and discovered that life was never behind them, it was always inside them, waiting to be heard. And that is the invitation today, not to run, but to realign, to reconnect with your rhythm, to reclaim your pace. Because when your rhythm is right, everything shifts, your mind quiets, your energy returns, your vision sharpens. You become powerful, not because you force things to happen, but because you allow what's meant to come to you. So let others rush. Let them burn out, crash, restart. That is their rhythm. Bless it. But do not imitate it. Walk your own, even if it's slower, even if no one claps, even if you are misunderstood. Because one day, yes, one day those who sprinted past you will look up and realize you never stopped, you never gave up, you never wavered. And you arrived not just with success, but with wholeness. That is the gift of rhythm. It builds you as you build your dreams. It protects your peace as you pursue your purpose. And it reminds you in every step that life is not something you conquer, it's something you create. So take this moment. Breathe. Feel your pulse. Let your pace slow. And begin again, not rushed, not reactive, but rooted, steady, clear, ready. Because the road ahead may be long, but your rhythm will carry you. And that rhythm, that calm, consistent, unstoppable rhythm is the sound of your life becoming something extraordinary. Move in rhythm and let the world adjust to your tempo. You don't rise because you're fast. You rise because you're unbreakable. There's a truth not enough people are willing to say out loud. Most don't last. Not because they weren't good enough, but because they weren't grounded enough. They didn't fail from lack of talent, but from lack of resilience. They didn't fall because the path was too hard, but because they never learned how to walk slow enough to gain the strength for the storms. You see, the future doesn't belong to those who flash fast and fade. It belongs to those who are willing to build slow and endure long. You don't just want success, you want longevity. You want to create a life, a character, a contribution. That last Sam, that means becoming the kind of person who doesn't collapse under pressure. The kind who doesn't just chase the dream, but becomes the vessel strong enough to carry it. That kind of strength isn't built overnight. It's built in the mundane, in the overlooked, in the quiet, uncelebrated repetitions of discipline. That kind of strength is built when you wake up and do the thing again. Not because someone's watching, but because you've become the kind of person who shows up anyway. And this is what the slow road gives you. Time to become. Time to develop a backbone. Time to learn how to speak truth without flinching. Time to stand alone without shrinking. Time to build your life on something deeper than attention, integrity. You may not see the results as quickly. You may not get the applause others get early. but you're building something they're not. Internal weight. You're becoming undeniable. Because here's what no one tells you: in the rush to the top, you will meet resistance. You will be misunderstood. You will be mocked, judged, questioned. You will have seasons where nothing makes sense and the weight feels unbearable. And it's in those moments that your foundation is revealed. Not in the moments of success, but in the silence between steps. That's where your roots grow. If you build fast without depth, you will rise quickly, but you will fall with the first storm. But if you build slow with intentionality, with truth, with strength of spirit, you become storm-proof. Not immune from pain, but immovable by it. That's the power of walking without hurry. It gives you time to grow strong enough for the road ahead. And make no mistake, the road ahead will require everything from you. It will ask for your consistency when you're tired, your clarity when the world is loud, your faith when the vision gets blurry. But those who last, those who truly endure, they don't bend to the noise. They move in truth. They aren't dragged by impulse, they're led by purpose. You must decide now. Will you be a spark or a flame? Sparks flash and fade. Flames grow slow but burn steady. They warm the world. They shape everything around them. But they need patience. They need tending. They need a decision. I will not burn out, I will burn on. Most people are taught to chase visibility. But visibility without inner power is dangerous. You get seen before you're stable. You rise before you're ready. And what was supposed to be a blessing becomes a burden you cannot hold. This is why the ones who walk slow are often mocked at first. But give it time. The sprinters lose breath. The showboats fizzle out. And the quiet ones, the steady ones, the ones who walk with discipline and conviction, they rise and they stay. And isn't that what you truly want? Not just a life that starts strong, but one that ends in legacy. Not just a win today, but a weight that still matters decades from now. Then you must fall in love with the process of becoming. Not just achieving, not just performing, but becoming. Let every step be a reminder. I'm not here to impress, I am here to evolve. Let every delay be a teacher. Let every trial be a weight that builds your frame. You are not behind, you're being built. And anything being built to last will take time. So let them doubt you. Let them underestimate you. Let them talk about how slow your journey seems. They don't see what you're becoming. They don't feel the strength being forged in your private victories. They don't understand that slow progress is often the most sustainable progress. That quiet strength is the most dangerous kind of power. You are not falling short, you are growing deep. You are not late, you are learning to last. And when the time comes, when the light shines and the doors open, you won't just show up. You'll be ready, ready to lead, ready to carry, ready to sustain. Because when you build slow, you build stable. When you build with rhythm, you build with resilience. And when you walk without hurry, you walk with authority, the kind no storm can shake. Keep becoming. Because those who last, lead. And you were made to last. You don't need to see the whole road. You only need the courage to take the next step. Some people wait their whole lives to feel ready. They wait for signs, for guarantees, for someone to come along and confirm that now is the time, that this is the moment, that all the risk has disappeared and everything is finally safe. But I'll tell you something the world rarely dares to say. You will never feel ready. The longer you wait to feel prepared, the longer you delay the life that's waiting on the other side of your next step. Because mastery is never something you find at the end. It is something you develop with every step you take. You don't build a life of greatness by leaping over mountains. You build it by choosing again and again to take one more step. When no one is watching, when no one is clapping, when even your own mind is begging you to turn back. Every person who has done something meaningful has had to fight this same war. The war of the mind that says, you're not ready, you're not good enough, you're too late. But let me speak truth into you now. You are ready enough to begin. The idea that you must know everything before starting is a lie. You learn by doing. You grow by going. You build wisdom by walking into the unknown with intention, not recklessly, but courageously. You may stumble, you may fall, but that is where real strength is born. In the recovery, in the correction, in the resolve to keep going anyway. And here's the miracle. The road reveals itself to the one who keeps walking, not all at once, not with clarity under the sun, but with just enough light to see the next step, just enough strength to rise. Again, just enough grace to keep believing that each small act of obedience is shaping something far bigger than what your eyes can see. That is the nature of transformation. It rarely feels like transformation while it's happening. But every brick you lay in the quiet becomes a fortress of power in the future. Let others wait for perfect plans. Let them collect knowledge but never act. Let them build maps for roads they'll never travel. But you walk, not because you know every detail, but because you trust your direction. Because your spirit speaks louder than your fear. Because you are tired of the illusion of safety and finally ready to step into the reality of purpose. When you take a step in faith, not blind hope, but committed courage, you realign your soul. You remind yourself that your life is not a project to be managed, but a mission to be lived. You shift from control to creation, from thinking to doing, from hesitation to momentum. And once you taste the momentum of obedience, you never go back to delay, because you realize you were never stuck, you were just standing still. You must learn to love the process of small progress. That moment when you wake up tired but still show up, when no one claps, but you complete the task, when you fail publicly, but still rise privately. Because these moments, these steps are not wasted. They are training. They are sharpening your focus, toughening your resolve, deepening your humility. And humility is the fuel of every great legacy. Because pride seeks quick results, but purpose builds patiently. You're not behind because you're still building. You're not weak because you feel afraid. You're not lost because you haven't reached your destination yet. You're simply walking a longer roader, deeper road. And while others sprint to places they don't belong, you are being shaped to carry something eternal. And that kind of mission takes time. So when the voice inside says, it's too late, respond with action. When it says, you're not ready, prove it wrong by moving. When it says, you need to be perfect, laugh and take another step anyway. Because the world is not transformed by the perfect. It is transformed by the present. And you can't be present if you're stuck in perfectionism. You are being forged, not rushed. This road you're walking isn't punishment, it's preparation. The struggle is not proof of your weakness, it's the stretching of your capacity. You are becoming stronger than the excuses that once held you down. Wiser than the fears that once blocked your path. Clearer than the noise that used to pull you off course. That's what the next step gives you. Clarity through movement. Power through presence. Growth through grit. And remember this, every step compounds. Every small act builds into momentum. You don't need to take giant leaps to transform your life. You just need to keep going. One more step when you want to quit. One more task when you feel drained. One more hour of focus when your mind wants to wander. Because one day, you'll look back and realize that every breakthrough you experienced was built on thousands of quiet steps taken in faith. This is what separates those who almost change their lives from those who actually do. The ones who act before they feel ready. They don't wait for conditions to be perfect. They choose consistency over comfort, vision over validation, progress over perfection. And in doing so, they build a life not of luck but of legacy. So take the next step. Not because it's easy, not because you feel certain, but because your soul is calling you forward. Then you will not silence it any longer. You do not need to see the entire staircase, just trust the next step. Because the one who keeps walking, no matter how slowly, becomes unstoppable. It's not how fast you go, it's how whole you feel as you move. Most people are chasing peace like it's hiding at the end of their to-do list. They believe if they just get more done, win more battles, cross more lines, achieve more goals, they'll finally earn the right to breathe. But let me speak a deeper truth to you. Peace isn't found in finishing the race. Peace is found in how you run it. It's not the result that brings peace. It's the rhythm, the way you walk, the space you allow between effort and exhaustion, the way you treat your soul while you build your success. You see, you were never designed to live in constant acceleration. Even the strongest hearts beat with a rhythm of push and pause. Even the ocean waves roll in and pull back. Even the seasons shift. And rest is built into the very nature of life. So why have you built your world around non-stop motion? Why do? You fear slowing down as if stillness is a threat. It's not a threat. It's a return to alignment, to breath, to sanity. We don't burn out because we work hard. We burn out because we forget to work from rest. Because we try to prove our worth by performance. Because we sprint in fear of being left behind, rather than walking in the confidence of being called to something greater. You were not meant to survive your days. You were meant to live them fully, purposefully, and deeply connected to what matters most. Let me ask you, when was the last time you walked slowly? Not just physically, but spiritually. When was the last time you moved? Through your life with space in your spirit, not cramming every minute with noise. Not filling every hour with motion, but actually breathing, actually feeling, actually being aware of where you are, who you are, and what you're becoming. Because if you don't create space, your soul will suffocate under the weight of constant pressure. And if you live only to accomplish, you'll never arrive at satisfaction. There will always be more to do, more to chase, more to achieve. And if you don't learn how to pace your life will break your body. Your mind will scream for silence. Your heart will forget how to feel joy. That's why the ones who walk far, learn the sacred art of pacing. They don't wait for burnout to teach them the lesson. They listen early. They slow down before the crash. They guard their energy like treasure. They know that rest isn't weakness, it's wisdom. And this is where you start to reclaim your power, when you refuse to tie your worth to how much you produce. When you stop measuring your value by how fast you're moving. When you look at a world obsessed with hustle and say, I will not kill myself to prove I belong. Because you already belong. Because your value is not something to earn, it's something to embody. You are worthy of peace now, not when the work is done, not when the goals are met. Now. And when you start living like that, something changes. Your clarity returns. Your joy becomes sustainable. Your inner voice gets louder than the noise around you. You stop rushing through your life, and you begin to live it. You taste your days instead of choking them down. You make better decisions, not rushed ones. You respond from presence, not pressure. You don't just do what's urgent, you do what's important. There's power in walking away from the pressure to perform. There's power in saying, I will go at my own pace, not the world's. And here's the paradox: when you live at your pace, your progress actually accelerates. Because you're no longer working against your nature. You're aligned. And alignment always creates efficiency. You begin doing more with less stress. You begin making decisions faster, not from panic, but from knowing. You cut through distraction. Because you're not proving anything, you're building something meaningful. This is what it means to live in rhythm. It means you make peace. Your priority, not your reward. It means you say no not because you're afraid, but because you're focused. It means you pause not because you're lazy, but because you're wise enough to recognize your limits. You walk slowly, not because you're weak, but because you're anchored. And those who are anchored do not drift also. Slow down. Breathe deeper. Let your pace reflect your power, not your panic. Let your movement carry presence, not just momentum. You are not a machine, you are a masterpiece. And masterpieces are not rushed. They are crafted with time, attention, care, and space to breathe. Every step you take should be a statement. I trust my pace. I honor my process. I protect my peace. And when you walk like that, deliberate, grounded, unrushed, you begin to attract the life that matches your energy. People feel your calm. They sense your clarity. They respect your boundaries. And most importantly, you begin to respect yourself. This is how you build a life that feels as good on the inside as it looks on the outside. This is how you create not just success, but sustainability. Because what's the point of building an empire if it costs you your peace? What's the point of reaching your goals if you hate the person? You become along the way. Let your peace lead you. Let your pace protect you. Let your presence be your proof that you are no longer running from life, you are walking with it. The road is long, but when you move in peace, you become unshakable. What you do quietly every day shapes what you become loudly over time. People often ask, what's the secret to success? They expect some complex answer, some hidden tactic, a genius hack that separates the extraordinary from the average. But I'll tell you now, the secret isn't hidden. It's overlooked, and it's this: consistency. Not perfection, not speed, not brilliance, just the quiet, relentless, ordinary decision to show up again and again, long after the excitement has faded. That's what builds greatness, not in the noise, but in the stillness. Not in the highlight reel, but in the moments no one sees. You don't become excellent by accident. You don't become strong by only acting when it's easy. You become extraordinary by becoming consistent, especially when it's boring, especially when it's hard, especially when no one is cheering. That's when it counts. That's when it matters. That's when your character gets built. That's when your results begin to form, not in the moment you post about it, but in the moment you persist through it. But here's the part no one wants to admit: consistency is not sexy. It doesn't feel glorious in the moment. It feels mundane, repetitive, inconvenient. It's waking up and doing the work without applause. It's choosing growth over comfort every single day. It's honoring your commitments even when your emotions change. And that's the difference between those who talk about change and those who live it. Because the truth is, how you do anything is how you do everything. If you can't be trusted with the small, you won't be trusted with the big. If you can't show up for the ordinary, you'll never sustain the extraordinary. Life doesn't reward intensity, it rewards consistency. The fire that flares up fast often dies the same way. But the one who keeps walking step after step becomes unstoppable. You want to feel powerful. Show up on the days you don't feel like it. You want to feel disciplined. Keep your word to yourself when no one else is looking. You want to feel worthy. Prove to yourself, not anyone else, that you can be counted on. Because when you become consistent, you build confidence. Not fake confidence based on praise or appearance. Real confidence, rooted in action, grounded in history, forged in repetition. And the beauty is, this kind of consistency isn't dependent on circumstances. You don't need the perfect day to show up. You just need one decision, one action, one moment of defiance against the temptation to delay. And once you start stringing those together, you become different. Your body changes. Your mindset hardens. Your perspective shifts. You start seeing yourself not as a dabbler, but as a disciplined creator of your own life. Consistency trains your brain to believe in yourself. And when your brain believes you, your whole being shifts suddenly. You no longer need motivation to act, you act because it's who you are. You don't negotiate with laziness. You don't flirt with excuses. You don't argue with your purpose. You simply get up. You do the work. You keep your rhythm. You walk. Even on the days when the vision feels far. Even when no one celebrates. Even when it's lonely. Especially when it's lonely. That's when most people give up. That's when most turn around. But not you. Because you've learned that your value isn't measured by moments, it's measured by movement. And movement is made up of decisions, not dramatic ones, but daily ones. This is the power of walking slowly, without hurry. You have time to become consistent, time to train yourself into reliability, time to shed the need for applause and grow roots in private. Because once you become consistent, you become dangerous. You no longer need validation to act. You no longer need conditions to be ideal. You simply move. You simply build. You simply execute. And the world begins to shift around you because you refuse to be shaken by every step you take. Even the smallest one is a vote for the future you're creating. And the more you vote, the clearer that future becomes. Success is not a matter of fate, it's a matter of focus. And you control your focus. You control your habits. You control the systems you create around your energy. If you build well, you don't have to rely on discipline alone. You'll have momentum. And momentum will carry you when discipline feels weak. But you must protect this consistency like it's sacred. Because it is. Consistency is the bridge between intention and transformation. Without it, nothing lasts. With it, everything compounds. Relationships deepen. Businesses grow. Strength increases. Wisdom matures. And your impact expands. Quietly, daily, unshakably. Others may call you obsessed. Let them. Others may say you're too focused. Let them. Others may mock your commitment. Let them. Because those who mock your habits today will be the same ones asking how you did it tomorrow. And you'll know the answer. You showed up. You walked steady. You chose progress over perfection. And eventually, all those small steps became something massive. Don't underestimate what you're doing just because it doesn't look dramatic. Don't quit just because it feels ordinary. Don't sabotage your momentum because you can't. See the finish line. This is the path. This is the process. This is the price. But it is worth it. Because what you're becoming isn't temporary, it's transformational. You're writing the story of your life one action at a time. Make each one count, not by its size, but by its repetition. You may not get it perfect, but you can get it consistent. And it will always take you farther than talent alone. Consistency doesn't look loud, but it speaks volumes over time. Keep walking, keep building, keep becoming. The goal is not just to arrive, it's to arrive as someone you're proud to be. You've walked far, you've weathered storms, you've said no to shortcuts, you've outlasted voices that told you to quit, and now the destination is closer than it's ever been. You can feel it in your bones. What you've been building toward is finally within reach. But let me warn you of the final temptation, the last trap that swallows so many just before they arrive. Forgetting who they are while chasing where they're going. Reaching the finish line means nothing if you don't like the person crossing it. This was never just about success. It was about becoming rooted, becoming whole, becoming honest. The danger with achievement is that it can seduce you into performance, make you believe that what you do is who you are. But hear me, you are not your results. You are not your resume. You are not your status or titles or metrics. You are your values, your presence, your truth. And if you sacrifice that just to win, you haven't succeeded, you've surrendered. So here is your final challenge, your ultimate assignment as you arrive at the edge of your new life. Don't lose yourself in the noise of your own breakthrough. Don't let applause drown out your inner voice. Don't let recognition replace your reason. Don't let movement become more important than meaning, because the world will clap for your results. But only you will know if you stayed true to your soul. You must protect what brought you here. You must protect the humility that kept you grounded, the integrity that kept you aligned, the consistency that built your confidence. And more than anything, you must protect the rhythm, the slow, steady, sacred rhythm that allowed you to become you. Because the world will now try to speed you up again. It will demand more, expect more, pull more. And if you're not anchored in your purpose, you'll say yes to everything and lose the very essence that made you powerful in the first place. You didn't walk this far just to burn out at the gates. You didn't move patiently through the pain, climb slowly through the silence, only to collapse into a version of you the world wanted, but your soul never agreed with. You came this far to finish as yourself, to win on your terms, to arrive. Oh, not hollow. Let this be the great paradox of your life. that you reached great heights by walking slowly, that you became respected not by shouting, but by showing up, that your legacy wasn't built by force, but by faithfulness, and that the most radical thing you ever did was stay true to yourself, while the world kept telling you to become someone else. The one who wins is not the one who rises fastest. It's the one who remembers who they are on the way up. And that's you. You remembered. You fought for your peace. You protected your pace. You became consistent. You moved in rhythm. And now, here you are arriving not as a copy of someone else, but as the full, rich, authentic version of you. That's what lasting success feels like. Not like pressure, but like alignment. Not like noise, but like inner stillness. Not like hustle, but like purpose humming in your bones. You don't have to force anything anymore. You're no longer chasing. You're becoming and becoming. That's something no one can take from you. So walk in, not with noise, not with show, but with the quiet confidence of someone who walked the road the right way, with grace, with intention, with truth. You've earned more than results. You've earned yourself back. And that's the only reward worth chasing. Let the others keep running. You've learned a higher path. You've learned that there's no road too long for the one who walks without hurry. Because every slow step carved something into your soul. Because you didn't just build a life, you built a self. And now, with everything you've become, with all the wisdom you've gained, with all the quiet power pulsing through your bones, you realize something beautiful and quiet and freeing. You were never walking towards something. You were walking back to yourself. If this journey has reminded you of who you are and inspired you to walk your own path with strength and truth, comment "I am home" below, like this video, and subscribe to Unlocking Wisdom, because this is not the end. This is the beginning of becoming everything you were born to be.